Hey folks, hope you're all doing well, hope you're all having a lovely week. Now there's been a slight update, or should I say further information provided on the Wilfred Wong story due to the amount of people in my comments who are running with this. I thought I would cover it just to add it to what we already know. So, alternative media outlet UK Column has come out and stated that they don't think the Wilfred Wong case is as serious an issue as it's being made, or that it's not all as it seems. Now that is 100% their opinion. They are absolutely allowed to speculate that it's not a serious issue or that it's not all as it seems. I think it would only be sensible to assume that it's not all as it seems, because we haven't had any court date or any sentencing or any further information other than the media reports yet. So absolutely fine to speculate that things are not all as they seem here. Now, they made a big deal about the fact that Wilfred Wong was the only person who had his photograph in the papers or in the media. The fact that he was photographed in chains they believe was sinister. I've seen photographs of prisoners in these chains before. These are standard prisoner transportation equipment from what I can gather. They're called escort chains. And as I say, I've definitely seen these on prisoners before in photographs. I also don't think it's in any way unusual for the press to want to take a photograph of a suspect in this kind of case. And you need to keep in mind that Wilfred Wong was the only person said to have had a knife. So why would he not be the one that was photographed? And it also may be the fact that he's the only one whose photograph was allowed to be published. For legal reasons, the other suspects may not be allowed to be photographed or have their images published. That's quite possible in a case that involves child abduction. On that note, one piece of news that UK Column did break seems to be the identity of the child, basically. They linked one of the suspects to the child in a way that can be used to identify the child. This connection was not broadcast by the media, and that is probably on purpose. Now, the connection may well change the story, and we'll need to find out more information about what's going on. I maintain that 100%, but reporting on this connection between a suspect and alleged victim actually takes away the court-granted anonymity of the child, and that is not something that is allowed. It may actually cause legal problems for UK Column. Now, I'm not saying that's what should happen, but these claims that UK Column have made have been repeated all over YouTube now, and it means that some people will now be able to identify the child, and that could be classed as a contempt of court, believe it or not. Going online and publicly giving other people enough information to identify a child in the UK could well breach a court order. And UK Column and anyone outlining the connection between the suspects and the child could well be in contempt of court and could actually end up suffering the consequences of that, regardless of whether they knew that was the case or not, unfortunately. So it's a little bit rich for people in the comments here to say that I'm going to be getting sued for my previous video on this, when they are quite possibly breaching the anonymity of the child. So in my opinion, UK Column could have made their broadcast and expressed their defence of Wilfred Wong without providing this kind of sensitive information to the public. But this sensitive information also in no way confirms the theory that this was a rescue mission. People are blindly assuming that there can be no wrong done by a specific relative to a child. Children can be harmed and abused by any relative of any gender. And for people in the comments to just put that to the side and act as if no wrong can be done to children by certain family members, therefore vindicating Wilfred Wong and verifying everything that they want to believe about the story, it just shows that these people don't have their eyes open and they really need to reassess their critical thinking skills, in my opinion. And then we've got the final point on UK Column, which is that Wilfred Wong has, and you may not know this, been a long-time contributor to UK Column over the years. He's appeared on their show and he's done a lot of writing for them. Again, this is not to take away from UK Column's right to back up their man. There's nothing wrong with wanting to err on the side of caution and believing in your own colleague. But it does tell us that UK Column know Wilfred Wong, have worked with Wilfred Wong, and have sung his praises in the past, and therefore they are biased, and therefore UK Column cannot be taken as an impartial source of the truth, and they cannot be used to dismiss the media reports and other channels commenting on it, who perhaps want to wait and see what the court says or what further information comes out before making a decision on this. Like myself and other channels and outlets covering this case, we can only speculate on the information released by the media and the police. But the fact that UK Column have reported this other information, that there's a connection between the suspects and the young child, does not change the fact that this has been reported as a knife-point abduction of a child. Now, on that knife-point abduction, I've been accused of clickbait by using that in my title, and UK Column themselves suggested that what Wilfred Wong may have been in possession of could have simply been a tool knife, a pen knife, something along those lines. They give an example of somebody being charged for having a fish gutting knife on them. And I completely agree that people should not be charged for the mere possession of a tool knife, a small knife and a keyring, etc. But again, it's pure speculation on the part of UK Column, which they're entitled to do, but the media has reported that it was a knife-point abduction. Not only that, but armed police boxed in the vehicle that contained the suspects and the child, which means that whoever reported the abduction to the police was aware of the knife. So it's not like something sitting in Wilfred Wong's pocket. From the sounds of the reports, somebody had brandished a weapon during the abduction, which explains the armed police. Now, let's also not forget that this so-called rescue mission, as it's being claimed, involved a vehicle with false number plates, which suggests, in my opinion, a very high degree of premeditation and criminal versatility and confidence. The reason I say a high degree of criminal versatility and confidence is that normal people do not know how to source false number plates, and they don't then fit them to a vehicle with the intention of throwing the police off the scent in preparation for a heroic act. For me, it's quite an unsettling part of this story. Because of the amount of pre-planning that it suggests. You know, if this was a desperate person prepared to break the law to save a relative who was in imminent danger, I don't hold that against them. But for them to spend time sourcing false number plates beforehand and then fitting them to their vehicle, it just adds that extra layer of premeditation, which takes away from the idea that it's a desperate person trying to rescue a child. Again, that is my opinion. Just as UK Column is entitled to their opinion, I'm also entitled to mine. So the only facts that we have right now are that the police and the media have reported that Wilfred Wong has been charged with the kidnap of a child and possession of a bladed article after being arrested by armed police who boxed in a vehicle containing a child and several adults who do not appear to have legal custody over that child. Now, the media report that the child was abducted at knife point before being bundled into a vehicle, and that vehicle had false number plates fitted to it, and it was then driven 200 miles away from where the abduction happened. I'm not saying I trust the media, I'm not saying I trust the police 100% of the time either. Whether they would give such false information like this in this case seems to be somewhat unlikely. However, we'll have to wait and see what the actual outcome is. But certainly this is what they have reported at this time, and the fact that there's a connection between one of the suspects and the child, although it may throw a different light on the story, does not in any way corroborate anything. And as I say, UK Column cannot be used as an impartial source for debunking the news reports, the media reports, or the police reports. So anyway folks, I thought I would just outline this because, as I say, I've been getting quite a few comments recently on the last video. People getting very, very, very upset, and during them being upset, they are actually effectively doxing the child, which is extremely silly. And I know for a fact that people are documenting these instances, so I'd be very, very careful with putting in the connection to the child regarding the suspects. So please don't put things like that in my comments. You are responsible for what you put yourself, and as I say, people are recording these comments and they are being reported as contempt of court. Not by myself, but there are people doing that, so don't be silly. Anyway folks, we'll leave it there. Like I say, I hope you all have a really good week. If you could also subscribe, if you haven't subscribed already, that would be excellent. I'll try and keep you updated on this story as more information comes out. Thank you very much for tuning in.